Hello everyone, I am Tacet, and today I'm going to be going over the Treasure Vault event. This is a monthly event that occurs one weekend out of the month, where the chances of finding treasure gnomes as well as vault key from those treasure gnomes is increased quite substantially. As far as the rate of finding a treasure gnome, it appears to be doubled at about 1 in every 15 battles, and the vault keys also appears to be approximately doubled, as I do not quite know what its previous rate was before the actual vault event. Do keep in mind this only occurred for one weekend as far as what the weekend time is considered. It is from Friday on the reset of that morning all the way until Monday on the reset of that morning. You can also just simply check what the time remaining says at the bottom. As you can see, as this time of recording this, it is 7 hours and 48 minutes remaining of this. So basically I'm just going to be going over the basics of how to farm gnomes as well as our actual data. So of course, as that is the more important piece of info, let's go on the actual data, because this is what you would even be doing it for. So over to the left is currently our full amount of data that we have from gnomes. It is not 1,000 takes, so it isn't the most accurate of data, but we have done 132 gnomes just during this event. These gnomes that I have tracked are only tracking the ones that I have found from Explore and PvP. They do not count any of the ones that I found prior to this event, nor does it count any of them that I have found within the vault keys. From what I can tell, vault keys, as far as what the gnomes have, is exactly the same, but I just didn't want to include it just in case they were different. But as you can see, there are 132 kills. The vault key specifically, we have at a 6.8% drop rate. You can notice that the 100 souls and the 2,500 gold drop are the two most common drops that have occurred during this. As far as the chance of getting gold or souls, it is about a 50% chance, and then all of the other resources are pretty much split in between. I believe there are a few drops that we don't actually have here that are on his drop table. For example, I believe 1,000 souls is a possible drop, possibly even 2,000 souls. I know that 40,000 and 50,000 gold are also drops that we just happen to have not gotten, but I believe everything else is currently on there. I put them in order from the top all the way to the better ones, as all the way to the bottom are the worst ones. So things like 2 minor trait stones, a small amount of diamonds, a small amount of souls are pretty trivial, including a small amount of gold. But as you get up, things like 4 gem keys, 3 event keys, a vault key are pretty nice. The vault key in specific is its only unique actual drop. As far as farming these things, you simply go into any explore. To check which explore you might need to do, check what legends you might want to upgrade, or if you're later in the game and you have more arcane trait stones and you know what to do with, go into inventory and see which ones you have the lowest of. At this current moment in time, I believe our green-yellow is the lowest. With this being said, we can go stock up by spamming these in Explore. Explore is by far the best way of farming treasure gnomes. The main reason for this is Explore recently got a repeat button, which makes it just as quick as doing challenges. So right off here, we're going to be going in with the Sunbird, Forest Guardian, Ogryn, and Firebomb, and then I'll be showing a cheaper variant of this exact team. There are many various Explore teams that can be used, but I do tend to center them around a Sunbird, mainly because it does get most commonly one-shots, and even if you don't get the one-shot, I will be showing a team for earlier on in the game that since you won't be able to get the one-shot, you'll still be able to clean up with it. So basically, you just go through the battle. There's approximately a 1 in 15% or 1 in 15 chance that you would end up finding a treasure gnome when doing one of these battles. We'll simply go play again and switch out our team. So right here, for more budgeted team, we're going to put a Rowan in here. Rowan you get for free from completing out the Forest of Thorns Kingdom. Pretty early kingdom to unlock and definitely easy to get. And then you simply put 2 Firebombs behind it. Firebomb is really good when fully empowered. Main reason for this is it gets to do 4 explosions immediately, explodes 4 red gems and does a little bit of damage, and with the empowered trait it will get that automatically. It is really dependent to have it fully traded, though it is a common, so this makes it really easy to do so. Rowan, as I mentioned, really high damage output, boost based on her armor. Without armor kingdoms, it's still enough damage. My other account has 0 HP kingdoms and 0 armor kingdoms and can still run this team. But you use a Rowan here, has really decent damage output, assuming she doesn't get hit. Even if she does get hit, still a okay amount of damage. And you do this just to offset the fact that she uses 2 different colors, which does the exact same kind of concept of what a Sunbird does. Sunbird also does split damage, but instead of boosting on armor, it boosts on HP. And since it dies every single time, you basically never lose a battle, even if you're using it with a lower level Sunbird earlier on in the game. Our banner is set to a +2 purple, +1 red, the Absol banner, which is used simply to get Sunbird up a little bit quicker. So right here, we're just going to go do the same concept again, throw down a Firebird and Firebomb, and just go from there. So why would you even be wanting to farm these guys? They drop, of course, as I mentioned, the Vault Key. And even if you're not interested in any of the other drops, the Vault Keys do have some specific uniques that only can be found within Vault Key, and likely will ever only be able to find within Vault Key. Once you find a Vault Key, you can play it underneath games, underneath the Gnome Vault. As you can see, we currently have 0, so we cannot currently access it. But they do have quite a bit of good drops in here. You can get 12 gem keys, you can get from the bigger guy. But basically what the battle is, you find 3 normal gnomes and 1 gigantic gnome. The 3 normal gnomes seem to drop the same thing as that loot table we showed before, but the bigger gnome does have a much bigger table. I've seen things like 12 gem keys, I believe he drops 5 celestials, he has a 10 event key, he has a 100 gem drop, and I believe he has a pretty big gold and soul drop that it can do as well. But anyways, as far as his actual stacks, they will just go all independently. Like you can see here, here's one example of it. We get 12 gem keys from him, and then you have the other few. Do keep in mind, it does look like sometimes you're not getting drops because occasionally it will show them on top each other. So if we go and switch this real quick, if we go and move over here, you can see it looks like we only got 2 drops, but we still have all 4 of them. The reason for this is we got 12 gem keys off of the big guy, we got 4 gem keys luckily off of one of the smaller gnomes, and then we got 2 100 soul drops off the smaller gnomes, so it may look like we only got 2 drops there, but we did indeed actually get 4, and those are just some of the loots that you can get. There are 3 uniques, or technically 4 if you count power orbs. But let's go count power orbs then. If you go under, of course, your hero inventory, and we go over to inventory, it is possible to get the power orbs. I'm not sure if you can get the major orbs or not, but I know for sure that you can get the smaller ones like Orb of Clans, Orb of Wisdom, Orb of Ascension, and Orb of Growth off of them. So those are pretty decent. Also, there are 3 troops that are only obtainable from doing the Vault Keys. I was unfortunate in only getting 1. Was kind of hoping in a video like this that I would be able to go over all 3 of them, but there's really only 1 that's relevant, and we did not get it. To see all the Vault troops, simply click Show All if you don't already have some of them, and click over to the Vault, which I believe is under T, because it starts with the, and apply filter, and you can see that there are these 3 troops. Only one of them is relevant, and that is Cedric Sparklesack, but there's a Valerian. It does a small amount of explosion and then has that runaway. This might seem bad on your own team, but since it has a runaway option, you can actually use this, for example, as a quick explosion, and then simply go and summon over top its spot. So there are some uses for it. As far as Treasure Gnome, no, I don't really see any use for him. He just gains a bunch of gold, destroys all the yellows to boost, and then just 30% chance to run away. Very rarely would I ever really see him coming into play unless there's a good yellow summon that might be able to utilize that concept. But one interesting thing to note about him, though, in the case of this one, is Jinx does still stay after he leaves, because Jinx triggers at the beginning of battle and then is applied for the entirety of the battle. So having him here and then having him run away still applies the Jinx of the half mana reduction to them. So that's one slightly okay aspect about him, though personally I never see myself really using him. It's not really something I foresee happening. But one thing that is pretty nice that we weren't able to get is, of course, this is the 3rd unique that you can get from Cedric Sparklesack himself. He pulls the last enemy to the front, charms a random enemy, and then summons 1 to 3 bomb bots. This is a pretty nice summon, to say the least. Bomb bots are really high damage. You would get the charm for a little bit more damage. You have a little bit of movement on them. Might be one of the actual viable movement kind of troops. Could be used in yellow and blue Guild War days, since you can get those summons. And it has a pretty nice amount of 100% gold gain, the highest gold gain in the game. He's basically the Farish Ra of troops. Basically the same thing that Farish Ra does, except he does it for gold instead of the souls, and at slightly lower amount. But relative to the gain on gold, it's actually a higher amount, because normally a gold gain would only be 25%, so Moneybags is 4 times higher, whereas with a Farish Ra, he's technically only 3 times higher, because Necromancy is only a 50% gain, whereas it then goes to 150% for 3 times higher. So yeah, definitely really nice to have. Really unfortunate I didn't get it. I will be trying for it next event. You can still get him even when it's not this event running, though do keep in mind the drop rates for both the Vault Keys and finding gnomes in general is much lower, and I would only really advise doing it during these events. These events are also, as I mentioned, the best times to be going and farming trait stones. If you have been wanting to get your trait stones up for whatever reason, maybe you have a good legend that you wanted to go and finally trait, maybe you had a mythic you recently got and you don't have anywhere near the trait stones, anytime when the vault event comes up will be the best time you could possibly do to go farm these resources. So it could be a good idea to wait until these until they actually come around in order to go do them. Doesn't look like we're gonna... There we go, I was gonna say, if we don't get a gnome in this video, we can't do that. So let's go fight a gnome. This is what a gnome looks like. You can identify a gnome by the little bag that it has in its corner. If you see a gnome in PvP, or anything in PvP that's like this, and it doesn't have a bag in the corner, it is not an actual treasure gnome. It's a player-owned treasure gnome. Only if it has that bag right there is it the real treasure gnome. And when we kill it out right there, we go and get his reward. If he escapes, you do not get the reward. And if you lose the battle, you do not get the reward, though. Unless it's PvP, I don't really foresee you really losing a battle in Explorer. Also, make sure to keep it on normal difficulty. There's no benefit to having on a higher difficulty. Nothing, not VIP bonuses, not your difficulty bonus, not anything, not your armor bonus. Nothing affects the rewards that you get from it. As you can see right there, we got a 4,000 gold drop. Not his absolute worst drop, but definitely one of the lesser tier ones for sure. But still, nonetheless, and as I mentioned, really good for doing while simultaneously farming those arcane trait stones. As you can see right there, we just got one right there. Arcane trait stones is actually about the same rate as during this event as you can find a gnome, so very nice time to go try doing both of them simultaneously. I would not bother, even though I have in the past, I would not bother trying to hunt down for treasure gnomes when it is not a treasure gnome event. The main reason being is just because of how much higher the event is. You're better off just waiting. There seems to be vault keys in what's it called, in raids, and there might be vault keys as well in invasion. So if we're just passively getting vault keys through that, you won't really need to go out of your way. Really, just wait like a month or two, and we'll probably just get it naturally from raids and possibly invasions as well. But anyways, that's pretty much all I really want to cover with this. If you still have any other question about the treasure vault event, just let me know. Of course, it's still going to be going for a couple more hours after this video gets posted, so definitely farm them up if you still want to. And of course, it only happens once a month, so you'll have another month to wait before it comes down again, though there are also other monthly events that are going to be coming in the future that we'll be going over, like what on earth is the bounty event? Oops, that's not what a bounty event is. Oops. And now I'm misclicking on arena. Also, be careful not to accidentally misclick arena. It will waste 1,000 gold. But anyways, yeah, bounty hunter event. We'll be going over that soon. We don't know what that does. But anyways, guys, I'll see y'all later. Thank you so much for watching. Hope this was helpful, and have a wonderful day. Goodbye, everyone.